Right. Well, we're live. We're gonna get it going here. We're supposed to have a couple special guests coming on, and it should be quite a show. We're going to be going over the Fiack number 7, how to destroy America in a fell swoop. We'll see if that works. Just trying to get my guy in here, get everything set up. Hey, Yo's in here. Let me give you the link. Right now, Yo will be the only one coming on the panel, but afterwards, the panel will be open for all who want to come on the panel. You're more than welcome. Help judge this contest. We're gonna have a link sharing contest and everything. A short bit after the Fiac report and the plan for total domination and destruction of all nation states everywhere. We'll just and the human body, human beings as a whole, should be quite a report. Uh, yeah. So all in all, it's going to be Yo Laser Beam, and he's going to be going over uh, this this thing here. Hey Yo, how you doing? Welcome aboard. How'd you like the thumbnail? Was that good? Oh, you're muted. Mic check. Hey, I finally got my notification. Look at that. I gotta make sure you can hear. Oh, hold on. Let me plug in the speaker. That's probably the problem. Hello. Should be better now. Or you still got it muted, Mike. All right. Well, leaving us in suspense will be Yo Laser Beam. We'll be waiting for him to do his. Hey, how you doing, Chris? His breakdown of the Fiac report to destroy all humanity, vaccinate everybody with nanotechnology and mRNA, DNA changing substances, basically making us all guinea pigs. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what goes on here. Yo's obviously busy. We're waiting on him to unmute. Oh, he just unmuted everybody. Hold on.
Hey, how you doing, T? Sorry about that.
Hold on, I can't hear him, man. What the heck is going on, yo? I can't hear you, man.
Yeah, I was just getting set up here,
All
brother.
right, give me a
Good to hear
second.
your
I
voice.
see your lips are moving, but I can't hear what you're saying. All right, hold on. There's something definitely strange going on here. That is the right. What the
Hey,
heck? All
Chris, how you
right.
doing? Hey,
Well,
Jason Rogers.
technical issues. I'm guessing. Uh, maybe I should leave and come back. I will be right back. I'm just gonna kick the stream. Hey, how you doing there? All right, I'll be right back, and I'll give you a wrench internet. 1 second.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? I mean, this is nothing new. These are just live events, technical difficulties, all part of the show. He's got a keyboard loving cat who just loves to jump on the keyboard during the middle of live streams. So, sending the cat much love. So, what's going to be happening here, I believe, will be just a representation of a meeting that took place earlier in Geneva. I anticipated this to be happening around the 20th of April. Here we are on the 19th, and wouldn't you know it? So, I'm going to try and reveal the black and white, the sort of ugly, scheduled truths of what everybody's been seeing and experiencing in the last 12 to 14 months. So we're just going to be waiting for T's return. We're going to go over a couple little um, scenarios, I guess you can say. Certainly send your links. The link contest, as T has recently been doing, is still on for this evening. That is not going to change. I just wanted to do my sort of spiel to give the people a little bit of an update and an explanation as we go forward in this crazy madness world that we're all seeing.
I
Welcome
can
back.
hear you. Yeah, thanks for taking over the show. That was great. Well, I had a disconnection. Apparently, I couldn't hear you. It was weird, but they could hear you, so that's good.
Yeah, no, that's good. Where's your cat? Is your cat on a leash at this point?
No, my cat doesn't get a leash. I'm not
I'm just
cool.
kidding.
But no, she's lying over there on the other side there. So
Yeah, no, I've never put a cat on a leash.
she's a cat on a leash. Well, sometimes you think, hey, Annalisa and Jason, give me a second. I'll get you a wrench here as soon as I get in there.
See, this is the really cool thing about T, Jason, and Annalisa. He gives everybody wrenches. This gives you the opportunity to be dropping links as well. T will go over that a little bit more in detail in case you're unaware, unsure of what that's all about.
Yeah. All right. So whenever you're ready to screen share and all that, you go, you have at it.
Well,
But
I think what I wanted to do, T,
just wait.
was well, not really wait. I can go. What I can do is just get started here, but I wanted to get some of the introduction out of the way first. Perhaps I can do that before I screen share, and
Okay.
and just give a little description as to what this is all revolving around. And
All right.
so, what has happened, and this is all to do with the cerveza bug, the COVID-19, which began in early 2020, as everybody is more than aware by now. I would just love to meet the person who's still unaware of this and get his or her autograph. And so, yeah, maybe somebody just getting out of a coma.
Hey, maybe they came out of jail or prison.
Right. And so what happened shortly after the World Economic Forum held its fluffbag meetings in Davos, Switzerland in late January of 2020, the World Health Organization had brought forth a special committee, which they call the IHR COVID-19 Emergency Committee. And it's roughly 30 people plus a chair representative. And they declared what is called Pheic, and it's spelled Pheic, as you saw in T's thumbnail. And what that represents is a public health emergency for international concern or of international concern. And that was declared on January 30, 2020. And so, and by doing so, this triggers IHR 2005 systems and protocols, which all 196 nations signed this legally binding executive agreement and falls under international laws at this point forward. So once Pheic is declared, IHR, the United Nations essentially seizes world governments. And we all know that they have their personnel, which are supposed to be elected officials, but we know very much by now that they are simply UN plugs put in place in a position and in other departments, agencies, and offices throughout world nations to benefit them and those who control the UN. And so I'll be talking a little bit in regards to the paperwork. It may be a little bit boring. I may be asking some questions, however, through the chat. Please don't hesitate to drop links as well for T's link contest, which will ensue this hopefully brief meeting. T, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just well.
Okay. And so what happens is the World Health Organization, they create a roster of people. And in this particular case, in the medical science field, and it numbers in between 100 and 200 personnel. And so what the WHO does is that they pull from that roster and they make a committee. As I mentioned before, in this particular case, it's called the WHO IHR COVID-19 Emergency Committee. They have 30 members, which have 18 members and 12 advisors. And they are a very, very powerful committee. They have extreme, significant power to seize basically the globe, the sphere, the planet, the flat earth, the realm, the world, the earth, whatever it is that you particularly call where you're living. It doesn't matter to me. I accept all that stuff. Okay? And so out of this roster, they must have a geographical representation of the world so that it's not so weighed and imbalanced, let's just say, to represent North America or Europe or Africa or South America and so on and so forth. So we have a equal representation of distribution of geographical areas, which kind of makes sense, but it still doesn't mean that it's not a scam. And so what the World Health Organization does is it provides information and data to this committee only so that it can come to a conclusion of if it can declare a fiack back to the World Health Organization. It's quite a convenient scam, actually. And it does so to protect the core interest of agendas and so on and so forth, that what we see currently running over our civilization. And so the trick here is to declare fiack, even if there isn't one. And so once fiack is declared, that gives the green light and the signal for world governments to declare a national state of emergency. Or it may also be a more regional state of emergency. But it's very important because this allows the FDA to use vaccines under emergency use only. And that's the trick here. They don't want you to have VAXXs for non-emergency reasons, because that'll just fall back as to your ho-hum seasonal flu sort of administration, and they'll only get 2, 3, 4, maybe 8%. We can see the pattern here of as to what exactly is going on. And this also is indicative of the tests being given, forced in some cases, or at least the illusion of. It has to be under emergency use only. There is no gold standard here. And so again, declared states of emergency, even though there is really none, is critical to make sure that the mass populations under a short-term window frame in time and space adheres to this sort of design and protocol that you're currently being run over in. This is how you seize an entire world in about 15 minutes. And so we saw this back in March 13, 2020, when former President Donald Trump declared the national state of emergency. It gives FDA certain powers. T promoted a very interesting cartoon link. If you remember, it was your finalist for Link of the Week last week, T. And it talks a little bit in regards to emergency use only rules. This is the trick. Everything has to be done using unapproved VAXXs, unapproved testing. That is significant and critical. So I'll be basically reading word for word the black and white of this report, which came out today, and also a big shout out to Pheic, who ironically, during the last reading in the first week of February of the 6th reading of the Geneva meetings, Pheic was on the panel. He said that April the 19th was going to be an interesting event, and certainly the week following, or the week of the 19th of April, and here we are. So in a way, I kind of dedicate this to Pheic. The accuracy was fantastic. And so I think I'm going to try and screen share here, T.
Okay, I'm ready whenever you are. Yeah.
Okay, let me know if you can see any of this at all.
Yeah, where is Pheic? Supposed to be here. see this. All right, let me get into my comfort zone. All right, I'm going to mute, and it's on mute.
But can you see what's on the screen?
Yes, I can. I got it on full screen now.
Okay, so are you able to see the statement of the 7th meeting of the International Health Regulations?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to scroll down here slightly so I can show you a little bit about the chair. As you can see right here, he represents the 30 advisors and members of this very powerful committee. And I'll just quickly scroll down to show you a little bit of the representation. Here we have United States, Trinidad and Tobago, Thailand, so on and so forth. And this gives you a bit of an idea. And now we come into the advisors, and they are given data by the World Health Organization. And this meeting, again, is being centric to Geneva, Switzerland. And what we find is the behavior of Switzerland is really all about global governance. This is the headquarters of global governance. There's no mystery about this fact. Although it's interesting how they managed to put the pictures so, like, who does this? Who puts their head sort of cut off like that? That's crazy. There's another one right here. Like from Saudi Arabia. Look at this. Is this Mr. Potato Head? What's going on here? And here, this could be Pennywise from Stephen King's It. But anyways, let's get back on track. In this guy's photo, this looks like it was taken from a wallet that's been sitting in there for 20 years. So let's go back on track. And now I'll get right into the reading. So what happens here is this is the committee and the World Health Organization coming up with their recommendations to all world nations, 196 of them. Statement of the 7th meeting of the International Health Regulations 2005 Emergency Committee regarding the coronavirus disease, COVID-19 pandemic. And so the 7th meeting of the Emergency Committee convened by the WHO Director General, he goes by the name of Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. And you've all seen his ugly mug way too much in the last 14 months and heard him speak also, unfortunately. And also, I recommend anybody who is interested in becoming the next Director General of the World Health Organization, please send your resume to Bill Gates, as this position will become available in May of 2022. And I highly doubt any of you can do a worse job than this palooka did. So the WHO Director General under the International Health Regulations 2005, we're just going to be calling it IHR at this point, regarding the coronavirus disease, COVID-19, took place on Thursday, 15 April 2021 from 12 noon to 16:30 Geneva time, which is Central European summertime. And so the proceedings of the meeting, members and advisors, I just showed you a quick snippet of them and their mugs, of the emergency committee were convened by video conference. So the Director General welcomed to the committee. That was very good of him. Very, very polite of him. Thank you. Expressed concern over the efforts, over the continued rise in cases and deaths. Isn't that interesting? And the need to scale up the global vaccination efforts. And he thanked the committee for their continued support and advice.
They had to add the deaths there. That was funny.
Well, this is the trend, T. So if you remember from the 6th reading in early February, which came 3 weeks too late, but that's okay, you and I covered it. We know that it was important and critical to sort of give the illusion of rising cases and deaths, even though there really is no evidence of it anywhere on Earth, to keep Pheic in place, and therefore unapproved VAXXs being shot in as many people as possible. and also unapproved testing to be going through the roof, and to sort of keep Northern Hemisphere nations who are normally supposed to be congregating naturally, warming temperatures, so on and so forth, keeping the weight on them, blanketing. And so Southern Hemisphere nations, if you're listening, don't think that you're off the hook. The blanket's coming down soon. Representatives of the Office of Legal Counsel, LEG, and the Department of Compliance, Risk Management, and Ethics, CRE, briefed the members on their roles and responsibilities. The ethics officer from CRE provided the members and advisors with an overview of the you-know-who declaration of interest process. The members and advisors were made aware of their individual responsibility to disclose to the you-know-who in a timely manner any interests of a personal, professional, financial, intellectual, or commercial nature that may give rise to a perceived or direct conflict of interest. Now, isn't that ironic? In a simulation. They were additionally reminded of their duty to maintain the confidentiality of the meeting discussions and the work of the committee. I mean, they're not hiding the fact that this is very secretive. They're only disclosing in the black and white the minutes and so on and so forth, which they agree upon. So each member who was present was surveyed, and no conflicts of interest were identified. 2 members of the committee and 1 advisor, who were members of the joint international team participating in the WHO convened global study of origins of SARS-CoV-2, agreed not to contribute to potential recommendations made by the committee regarding the investigations concerning the origin and emergence of the virus. So it almost seems as if there were 3 in particular that were withholding or are withholding information at this point. But let's continue on. One of them I identified, Marion Koopmans from the Netherlands is one of them. And I believe there's a Dr. Keith Hamilton from France, of all places. And another which I was not able to identify as one of or 2 of the 3. So the Secretariat turned the meeting over to Chair Professor Didier Houssin. Professor Houssin also expressed concern over the current trends with the COVID-19 pandemic and reviewed the objectives and agenda of the meeting. Now, if anybody is unaware of what is the Secretariat, what do they mean by that? I'm not sure if you can see, but Chapter 7 of the World Health Organization Constitution outlines what the Secretariat is under Article 30. The Secretariat shall comprise the Director General and such technical and administrative staff as the organization may require. So essentially, they can invent and have as many people in on this party as deemed fit. Okay. So the Secretariat presented on the following topics and responded to questions from the committee in 5 bullet points. Number 1, progress made on the you-know-who's implementation of 15 January 2021 advice to the Secretariat. Number 2, recent global and regional epidemiological trends, the tracking, monitoring, and assessment process for SARS-CoV-2 variants, updates on the mission to understand SARS-CoV-2 origins, and the actions that the you-know-who is taking to ensure a coordinated response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, when we left back in early February, the big trend was the variants, and international travel. And of course, with the passport agenda. And so we're going to see upcoming what and if that is actually continuing at this point. Bullet point number 3, global COVID-19 vaccine rollout and equity, the impact of vaccines on asymptomatic infection and transmission, and vaccine performance against variants of concern, VOC. Next, the you-know-who's assessment of the impact of SARS-CoV-2 variants of concern on public health interventions, and an overview of the you-know-who's actions related to health measures in relation to international traffic. Oh. Sorry about that, T. A little hairy there.
It's all good. Yeah, so basically they want to cut your travel. Go on.
Yeah, so they're little by little establishing more the narrative as to what all nations should be preparing for at this point. And the committee thanked the Secretariat for the quality of the presentations made and unanimously agreed. Now, listen up, everyone. This is extremely important. They unanimously agreed that the COVID-19 pandemic still constitutes an extraordinary event that continues to adversely affect the health of populations around the world, pose a risk of international spread and interference with international traffic, and to require a coordinated international response. As such, the committee concurred that the COVID-19 pandemic remains a public health emergency of international concern, Pheic, and offered advice to the Director General. And so that, in a nutshell, for those who are not so big on the black and white and want to sort of narrow it and squeeze it down into a certain paragraph, well, that one right there that I had just read should be enough to fill your tummy with disgust and certainly a bit of interest. Because as you know, I'm not sure if there's any nation's people who have really sounded the alarm of a new respiratory deadly illness as described by the you-know-who, certainly media. So the committee noted that many of the past recommendations remain relevant to current global response efforts. The committee requests that the IHR Secretariat review past advice and temporary recommendations and bring to the committee a proposal for the process of new issuance, termination, or modification of advice and temporary recommendations in a consistent manner. Now, let me remind you that when this committee declares a Pheic, it is only a temporary state of emergency of international concern, and by law is only allowed to be issued for 3-month terms. And so by extending officially in that last paragraph, what will happen is they will take from April 30th, which still has yet to happen, and they will tack on to April 30th, 3 months from there, because of course we're still under the 3-month issuance that leads up to April 30. And so that'll take the world till July 30, 2021 to continue on with this charade. And again, playing specific roles to emergency use only regulations and campaigns to basically run over an entire planet. And basically what I want to say is don't be surprised come the 20th of July when this next meeting convenes that they will declare Pheic once again to take you to Halloween, basically. But I'm going to not get too far ahead. So the committee recognized the you-know-who's and states parties. When they say states parties, it's another word for saying nations or countries. Progress in implementing the previous advice and temporary recommendation from the 6th meeting of the Emergency Committee. The committee congratulated the mission team and the report from the you-know-who's convened global study of origins of SARS-CoV-2 and encouraged implementation of the recommendations published in the mission report. And I also recommend anybody who's interested to have a look at that global study of origins of SARS-CoV-2. So the committee remains concerned that the world will not exit the pandemic unless and until all countries have access to appropriate supplies of diagnostics, treatments, and vaccines, irrespective of their ability to pay and the capacity and financial resources to rapidly and effectively vaccinate their populations. Inequities within and among all countries is slowing the return to normal social and economic life. But we know that is just not true. But there you have it in black and white, the language of the elites. The committee provided the following advice to the Director General accordingly. The Director General determined that the COVID-19 pandemic continues to constitute a fiack. He accepted the advice of the committee to the you-know-who and issued the committee's advice to states parties or nations as temporary recommendations under the IHR, which they are binded to legally. And a quick note that even if, this is interesting how they have this set up, because even if the committee said, you know what, there is no more emergency, we're not going to extend it. Well, guess what? The Director General has the authority to say, F you, committee, I'm still declaring it. That is the truth. But interestingly enough, we know that scenario will not happen because they give the data to the committee only to say what they want to hear, essentially. That's the bit of the scam here, to protect the core. So they have advice to the WHO Secretariat. COVID-19 vaccination. Number 1, promote global solidarity and equitable vaccine access by encouraging states parties, in other words, nations and manufacturers, to support the COVAX facility. And so here we have again the COVAX facility. You may or may not have heard or seen this before, but essentially, in theory, it is supposed to be a facility that is designed to help impoverished and sort of not unstable, but developing nations to have the same chances of VA-XX-ing their populations. But interestingly enough, former President Donald Trump refused time and time and time again to sign on with COVAX. And if anybody wants to have a look at COVAX and see what it really represents, they won't be surprised to find out that it is actually the World Health Organization behind it, CEPI, which is the Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, Gavi, the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, and we'll also throw on UNICEF in there as well. And upon further looking, you will see that it is in fact Bill Gates, and Bill Gates. Let me continue on. Including by sharing vaccine doses and to conduct technology transfer for local production of COVID-19 vaccines and ancillary supplies, including in low and middle income countries with scalable capacities. Number 2, accelerate evaluation of COVID-19 vaccine candidates, encourage regulatory agencies to use reliance mechanisms, and support states' parties in strengthening their regulatory agencies to facilitate supply of vaccines with assured quality, efficacy, and safety. Number 3, mobilize technical assistance and financial support to states' parties with insufficient capacity and financial resources for vaccine introduction and rollout. 4, encourage states' parties to prioritize vaccination of high-risk groups as identified in the Strategic Advisory Group of Experts in Immunization Roadmap, or SAGE. Many of you have seen SAGE or the word SAGE before, and this is what this is. They're so-called experts, no differently than the panel of experts that you'll see in this committee. They're just put together to make sure that they recommend what those who control the UN want to hear, and that's to protect the core. They just create groups, committees, you name it, to make it look like they're independent, but they're really not. They're furthest thing from independence. They're there to cater the agendas and the schedules that are needed to continue on with this sort of sick ideology that's punishing the world at this moment. Number 5, continue to closely monitor potential vaccine safety signals globally. Disseminate timely reports on adverse events following immunization, AEFI, and provide regular SAGE interim recommendations to inform timely national decision-making on the use of COVID-19 vaccines. Number 6, continuously collect and share best practices and lessons learned from COVID-19 vaccination to guide national, regional, and global decision-making. Well, isn't all that fine and dandy? Why would any nations need to be guided? Certainly if you're a first world nation. But this is what we see with the UN and their departments like the WHO, who like to scab like parasites on the backs of wealthy nations, and who have actually served nothing in regards of their performance rising up to power along the way. The UN and WHO had nothing to do with country successes. 7, strengthen the you-know-who and support strengthening of states' parties' capacities to prevent, detect, and respond to the growing threat of substandard and falsified vaccines. Number 8, encourage all countries and support low and middle income countries to conduct research in line with the you-know-who's guidance and best practices. Research topics include COVID-19 vaccine efficacy and effectiveness with regards to infection, transmission, and disease, including due to variants of concern. Duration of protection against disease and asymptomatic infection, long-term protection after using different vaccination intervals, protection after 1, 2 booster dose schedules, and protection following mixed vaccine product schedules. It's crazy. It just seems like they're establishing a never-ending industry and encouraging different batches into you at the same time, which they'll probably sell off as a better way to protect yourself. Here, you took a Pfizer in the spring, well, you're going to take a Moderna in the fall, and so on and so forth. Don't be surprised, people. Number 9, accelerate research to establish correlates of protection from COVID-19 vaccines against infection and disease, including for variants of concern, thereby facilitating implementation of vaccines and policy development on the use of vaccines. So now they move on to SARS-CoV-2 variants. And I apologize if this is not very interesting to most. I get it. I understand it. I live it. I see it. Number 10, support states' parties to strengthen their epidemiological and virologic surveillance as part of a comprehensive strategy to control COVID-19. 11, provide clear guidance to states' parties or nations for sequencing to monitor virus evolution and encourage broader geographic representative of genetic testing, rapid sharing of sequences and metadata with the you-know-who, and publicly available platforms. This will strengthen SARS-CoV-2 evolution monitoring, increase global understanding of variants, and inform decision-making for public health and social measures, diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines. 12, strengthen the you-know-who SARS-CoV-2 risk monitoring and assessment framework for variants by accelerating collaboration, harmonizing research to answer critical unknowns about mutations and variants of concern, and prioritizing issues most relevant for vaccine development. Networks and expert groups such as the you-know-who SARS-CoV-2 Virus Evolution Working Group, World Health Organization Research and Development Blueprints for Epidemics. Number 13, work with states' parties to conduct in-depth analyses into the factors contributing to the current surge in cases and deaths, including the potential role of SARS-CoV-2 variants. Now, isn't that interesting to you? In early February, we talked about them supposedly naming variants, and we still haven't had any sort of real official representation. Of course, we have scientific names like B117, B119,
Right.
but they made it very specific that they don't want geographical representation such as the Indian variant or the South African variant. They wanted more different sort of names, and we haven't seen that yet. And so here
No,
they have, sorry,
no,
T, what
we
was
have
that?
the California variant, which is I don't know
Right.
the number, but
But it's
that's the
not
close.
official
No, it didn't go official. It's just, that's what they called it. Some
because, again,
guy.
that's going against what the you know who is recommending. They don't want a geographical name attached to it, like the Spanish flu, for example. They want something else. But we haven't seen any evidence of that yet. I mean, I'm not sure they're waiting for it. It can't be that difficult. Make a contest out of it. So, health measures in relation to international traffic. Here we go. Number 14, update the you know who December 2020 risk based guidance for reducing SARS-CoV-2 transmission related to international travel by air, land, and sea, based on current science and best practices that include clear recommendations for testing approaches and traveler quarantine duration as appropriate. Incorporate an ethical framework into the updated guidance to guide national decision making. The guidance should take into consideration COVID-19 vaccination rollout, immunity conferred by past infection, risk settings, movements of migrants, temporary workers, and purpose of travel, non essential versus essential. It all sounds quite illegal to me for those who are into freedom of movement. Doesn't
You're
sound so
obsolete.
it doesn't sound so free after all, does it?
Reminds me of that what was it? Twilight Zone episode. I think it was.
Which one?
You're obsolete.
Yeah. Oh, it reminds me of a lot of things, all of which are pretty dark. So I'll continue with number 15. Continue to coordinate with relevant stakeholders in the fields of international travel and transport, including the ICAO, the UNWTO, and the IATA, all three of which are tied to the UN. The ICAO is the International Civil Aviation Organization. The United Nations World Trade Organization. You probably remember the Suez Canal blockage. That was a little bit of a scam perpetrated by them. And the IATA, which is the International Air Transport Association. For the regular review, updating and dissemination of evidence-based guidance on travel-related risk reduction measures. Number 16, continue to update the World Health Organization interim position on the considerations regarding requirements of proof of vaccination and to produce interim guidance and tools related to standardization of paper and digital documentation of COVID-19 travel-related risk reduction measures, vaccination status, SARS-CoV-2 testing, and COVID-19 recovery status in the context of international travel. And so there you go, more interesting information there. So here it looks like they're going forward now with not just the standardized paper version, but digital documentation, which I'm sure everybody's been seeing so much propaganda about in the last few months at the very least. And of course, we profiled the paper version on pages 52 and 53 of IHR 2005 many, many months ago, back in September 2020, when we revealed those documents and brought them forward. Number 17, continue to work with states, parties, and partners to enable essential travel and repatriation and to facilitate the movement of goods to prevent delays in access to aid and essential supplies. Number 18, continue to encourage vaccination of seafarers and air crews in line with the joint statement on prioritization of COVID-19 vaccination for seafarers and air crew. Now, they're talking about the origin of SARS-CoV-2, which is, I mean, don't even get me started. And many people started on this. Number 1, proceed with rapid implementation of the recommendations in the you know who convened Global Study of Origins of SARS-CoV-2 report as part of the phase 2 studies. 2, encourage research into the genetic evolution of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Give me a call if you can actually find it. One Health, isn't that interesting? One Health sort of represents global governance, doesn't it? One world order. Well, that's precisely what it is. And that's what you're seeing in this test of systems and protocols to be played out simultaneously around the world. Number 3, promote One Health approaches to better understand and reduce the risk of spillover of emerging infections from animal to human populations and from humans to animals, including from domestic animals. So they got to make sure that they cover the bases for your cats and dogs. Number 4, work with partners to develop and disseminate joint risk-based guidance for regulation of wet markets and farms to reduce transmission of novel pathogens from humans to animals and vice versa. Now, this is the theory that they're still pushing that would have had us exterminated off the planet or the world, whatever you want to call it, over 100,000 years ago, if this theory was in fact correct. Risk communications, community engagement, and risk management. 5, provide communications materials and guidance to explain the communities the continued need for a sustained pandemic response. Document and provide messaging to respond to pandemic fatigue. Now, aren't y'all a little pandemic fatigued out by now? I'm sure most of us were probably 15 minutes into this scam. Number 6, provide the public with communication materials that outline the relative benefits and risks of vaccination and therapeutics. Explain the need for the continuation of public health and social measures and dispel misinformation. So it's the control of information, it's the censorship, which is necessary and vital to continue on with this campaign. Number 7, assist states parties in providing their populations with credible and current information to guide national decision making by analyzing the latest scientific evidence or lack thereof, sharing evidence-based good practices and experiences, and providing tools and strategies for engaging and understanding community concerns. More lies, deception, backed by propaganda. And here they have the recommendations to all nations, temporary recommendations. COVID-19 vaccination. Here we go. Number 1, contribute to global solidarity efforts to include equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines and ancillary supplies by supporting the COVAX facility and engaging in technology transfer where feasible. 2, reduce national and global inequities by ensuring vulnerable populations access to COVID-19 vaccines and by prioritizing vaccination of high-risk groups in line with the SAGE roadmap. In light of current limited global supply, prioritized vaccination can ensure vaccine supply is available for all countries. 3, enhance capacity for COVID-19 vaccination by using the guidance, tools, and training for national, subnational focal points and national and health workers available in the COVID-19 vaccine introduction toolkit. 4, incorporate as necessary and appropriate the private sector into the COVID-19 vaccine planning. Isn't that interesting and convenient? And introduction to supplement existing service provision and vaccination capacity. Number 5, share with the you-know-who data and key insights on COVID-19 vaccine uptake and acceptance wherever possible, and provide the public with credible information on vaccine safety and the benefits of vaccination to address concerns. Number 6, strengthen national vaccine pharmacovigilance systems to identify, report, and respond to vaccine safety signals. So now we're moving on to SARS-CoV-2 variants. I assure you this is nearing the end. We still got a couple things to talk about, however, so please be patient.
No, I'm patient. I want to hear this stuff.
Okay, so moving on to SARS-CoV-2 variants then, T. Number 7 is strengthening epidemiological and virologic surveillance as part of a comprehensive strategy to control COVID-19 and leverage existing systems such as the Global Influenza Surveillance and Response System and relevant networks for systematic sharing of data and specimens. Number 8, share sequences and metadata with the you-know-who and publicly available platforms to strengthen SARS-CoV-2 evolution monitoring, increase global understanding of variants, and inform decision-making for public health and social measures, diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines. This can only be done through global governance, people, folks. This is no longer at the national level. Nations have been undermined, taken over, and so this is all just part of the layering. Number 9, virus sharing, including sharing of variants of concern, should be undertaken to facilitate evaluation of vaccines against variants of concern using internationally standardized assays. Health measures in relation to international traffic. Here we go. Number 10, do not require proof of vaccination as a condition of entry, given the limited, although growing, evidence about the performance of vaccines in reducing transmission and the persistent inequity in the global vaccine distribution. And so you would think that would bring like tears to your eyes of happiness when they say do not require proof of vaccination, almost like a sigh of relief. But check out the next phrase in the same paragraph. States parties, in other words, nations, are strongly encouraged to acknowledge the potential for requirements of proof of vaccination to deepen inequities and promote differential freedom of movement. It almost seems like an oxymoron the way they're wording this. At first, they're saying do not, yet the second paragraph almost seems like they're encouraging, yes, we do. And so we know, do not trust any of these crooks, these criminals. Do not be fooled. Number 11, prioritize vaccination for seafarers and air crews in line with joint statement on prioritization of COVID-19 vaccination for seafarers and air crew. Special attention should be paid to seafarers who are stranded at sea and who are stopped from crossing international borders for crew change due to travel restrictions, including requirements for proof of COVID-19 vaccination to ensure that their human rights are respected. Since when have human rights been respected in the last 14 months? The same people who are behind the human rights here are the same people that have run them over. Wake up, everyone.
Absolutely.
Number 12, implement coordinated, time-limited, risk-based, and evidence-based approaches for health measures in relation to international traffic, in line with the you-know-who guidance and IHR provisions. If states parties implement quarantine measures for international travels on arrival of their destination, these measures should be based on risk assessments and consider local circumstances. And if you remember not that long ago, the you-know-who was saying they had nothing to do with quarantine and such measures. But we know that that is in fact not the case. And they are the only ones that have full authority of these restrictions and measures. And if you look up under the WHO Constitution, Article 21A, it clearly states that they are the only one. And they put forth these recommendations for quarantine and all the other measures that you see. Moving on to 13. Reduce the financial burden on international travelers for the measures applied to them for the protection of public health. That is, testing, isolation, quarantine, and vaccination in accordance with Article 40 of the International Health Regulations. Number 14. Share information with the you-know-who on the effects of health measures in minimizing transmission of SARS-CoV-2 during international travel to inform the WHO's development of evidence-based guidance. If you wanted to look at Article 40, I highly recommend it. It's not a very long article, however, it's there. Read the whole Constitution, read the international health regulations. It's an 84-page document. It's extremely important. One Health. Strengthen regulation of wet markets and discourage the sale or import of wild animals that pose a high risk of transmission of novel pathogens from animals to humans or vice versa. 16. Conduct risk-based monitoring of animal populations to reduce disease transmission from animals to humans. Monitoring efforts should prioritize potential high-risk animal populations that may become reservoirs or lead to emergence of novel viruses or variants. Origins of SARS-CoV-2, number 17. Support global research efforts to better understand critical unknowns about SARS-CoV-2, including the origin of the virus. It's hard for me to even read that without laughing, as well as specific mutations, variants, and genetic factors associated with severe disease. Risk communications, community engagement, and risk management. Number 18. Communicate about COVID-19 vaccinations clearly and consistently, including on the benefit risk of vaccination and on the potential AEFI. Now, the AEFI is the adverse events following immunization. But interestingly enough, it should be clearly communicated that no vaccine is 100% effective. And if no vaccine is not 100% effective, it may be 0% effective. It's all about optics, everyone. And that risk of disease, especially severe disease, is significantly reduced, but not eliminated. Consequently, public health and social measures are still critically needed to prevent infections and control transmission of SARS-CoV-2 while vaccination supplies increase and coverage grows. Materials should be provided in an easily understandable format and local languages. Number 19, engage and enable communities, the media, and civil society stakeholders in response efforts to reduce pandemic fatigue and enhance vaccine acceptance. Like, we need more media, just more propaganda. Number 20.
Oh yeah, we love the.
Oh geez, I tell you, the media, they're not even hiding the fact anymore. They're literally the blood of the devil. The media information highway system is a weapon. Don't even get me started on that. Let me try and finish this off and we can just continue on from there, team. Number 20, establish mechanisms to prepare and support health workers and public health authorities, as the pandemic is likely to continue for many additional months. Well, how convenient is that? And that plays into the theory come July 30th, pull it back about 10 days to the 20th, and they will declare another Pheic because, again, they need that. I'm not sure if you can squeeze in the billions that have still yet to get VA-XX'd. And so this will play into going forward into Halloween, which conveniently then, again, to Northern Hemisphere nations, starts their seasonal flu period. And then the madness continues on. In addition, the following previous recommendations are extended as advised by the committee. And so this is just more of a conclusion here. Extension of and updates of previous advice to the WHO Secretariat, essential health services and strengthening health systems. Work with partners to support states parties in strengthening their essential health services with a particular focus on mental health, public health, prevention and control systems, and other societal impacts, as well as preparing for and responding to concurrent outbreaks, such as the seasonal influenza. Special attention should continue to be provided to vulnerable settings. provides strategic insight on how states parties can strengthen and sustain their public health infrastructure, capacities, and functions developed for COVID-19 response to support strengthened health systems, emergency preparedness, and universal health coverage in the long term. Extension and updates of previous temporary recommendations to states parties. Essential health services and strengthening health services. Maintain essential health services with sufficient funding, supplies, and human resources. Strengthen health systems to cope with mental health impacts of the pandemic, concurrent disease outbreaks, and other emergencies. And finally, you can all start clapping now, because I'll shut up after this. I'll tell you, this was a mouthful. Continue to strengthen public health infrastructure, system capacities, and functions for COVID-19 response. Build health systems that can meet cans and to enhance universal health coverage. And there you have it. That is the presentation. That is all. That is the black and white from this 7th meeting of the World Health Organization IHR COVID-19 Emergency Committee. So again, what we see in a nutshell is that they declared the extension of Pheic. We knew this was going to happen. They need Pheic in place so that they can use unapproved vaccines and unapproved testing methods on you to determine that you are COVID-19 when in fact you have none. We know modeling is behind this. We know that the international travel is the way that they're starting to establish an industry of passports with sort of a multitude of outcomes, extorting wealthy nations of billions and billions and billions that are pipelined to those who control the UN, and the naming or the variants that they throw into the mix to keep the fear alive and to keep COVID-19 alive. No differently than the mannequins that were used in January in China of 2020 to start and front load this entire campaign. So there you have it, T. I just wanted to say thank you to you. I also wanted to say thank you to Philemon. I had never forgot you back in early February when you talked about April the 19th. And interestingly enough, we got Biden who's going to be showing up on the 22nd, which is the Thursday, which is the UN. The UN's going to have a big global party because that's Earth Day. And in Washington, Biden's going to be playing host to the League of the World Leaders Summit for climate change. And this is when they'll sort of dispel the last 4 years under Trump because he walked away from the Paris Climate Agreement. Biden re-signed onto that on January 20. And so they're going to make it look like, it was a big, big success moving forward. And America is going to be the global leader in climate change and so on and so forth. So that's what we're looking for also this week. It'll be hilarious. And of course, there'll be a multitude of things that'll be happening this week as well. So thank you, T. Thank you for everyone in the chat for your patience. God bless you all.
No problem. Just seeing what the heck is going on here. All right. Well, that was good. Very good. I couldn't have done better myself, of course. Literally.
I can have a drink here.
Yeah, have a drink. And I'm sorry, guys. I messed up. I was supposed to put up the chat. So I know it's kind of a pain in the butt, but I'm going to need you guys to repost those links, Sherry. I'm sorry. It just kind of like disappeared. I forgot to bring up the chat. It would have all been there, but I was like, oh, I forgot. So I looked, and all I got was one link, and that was from Blue Pill there, his last link that he put in there. So if you guys put in links, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, we're going to have to resubmit those because I messed up. It was my fault. I'm the bad one. So, yeah, well, the way I look at it is they plan on totally putting it on the states. They plan on totally putting it on. It's kind of what we already knew in a way. governments to force vaccinate their people and get everybody in line. If not, they're not going to travel. They're not going to have, a normal business as usual. It's not going to be there. It's basically what I got from it. Is there something I missed?
Yeah, that it won't be reported by any media source whatsoever. You will not get that
Well,
information. The media won't come out and tell you that, even though it's not the truth, the stuff that I'm reading you is really all controlled scam, so that it can sort of keep this scam ongoing and protect the core. This is the same old behavior that we're used to from the elite class controllers. It's very important, so that they pad themselves and protect themselves in criminal activity when you're, and this is exactly how you sort of seize an entire world simultaneously. It's not that difficult, actually, but you won't hear that on the news. And so what I'll do right now is I'm going to step down, T. I'm going to try and help out with the chat. I'm going to have a drink, and I'm going to celebrate everyone here. Remember, everyone, that you're just a domino in life. And right now, I've got about 7 billion dominoes leaning against me, and I'm not falling over. The whole plan is that one domino falls over, and that causes all the rest to fall over. And everybody in this chat I recognize as a domino that's still standing up. And I thank you for that. You guys are awesome.
yeah, well, it adds one domino to another. You know what I mean? I hope I don't get knocked down. Just kidding.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Human behavior is very, very simple to manipulate and control, because you're really just a domino on the field of life at the end of the day. And you can cause an entire set of dominoes to fall over. It's that simple. And the higher the population, the easier it is actually to do. But anyways, I'm going to step off. I'm going to hang with you guys for a bit. Love you all.
I
God
appreciate
bless.
you show. Follow them on, or anybody else want to come on the show, talk about it. We can do that, but most likely we're going to get into our link sharing portion of the night, and we're going to go to the link contest like we have every night. First off, I'm going to show the link of the week, which was, it just happened to be my buddy Danny Diesel. So we'll get into that first, and then while the links build, we'll start doing the links. Here's the StreamYard. All right, and then we get screen share. Okay, right. That screen share. Okay. All right, I am sharing the screen. Okay. Well, so the link of the night is the link of the week, but happened to be my buddy Danny Diesel. So we're gonna run that real quick. It's kind of one that I'm gonna have to mute and talk through because it's got a mainstream song on it. Just don't want to slow it down on him. So yeah, let's get it on. Yeah. So he's basically says he's back. He's back. He's back. He's promoted my channel and this and that. Now, mind you, this was not, I repeat, not my pick for the link of the week, but everybody that was on the panel and on the show, that they voted, and this was the link. It had a good song to it. I could show you just a little bit of the song. Give me a second on that. Yeah. Fight the good fight every moment. Oh man. So yeah, that's Danny Diesel's link. He's basically promoting my channel. I was not, repeat, not the one that voted this in. Just so it doesn't seem like, oh, he shouted you out, so he wins the link contest. That's not what happened. Last night, everybody but me voted for this link, so I guess I can't go against everybody. But it's not like I mean, I don't think it was good. I just thought that this other song was a little better. I was trumped. Trumped. Yeah, it's a good song, and I'm just trying to upload this. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm really thinking real seriously right now whether I should just stop and transfer you guys to another channel. You know, I'm really thinking about that right now. Because I don't want Yo's work to get taken down, or me to get a strike for something because I'm trying to leave this up. Mhm. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. It'd take a couple minutes, but yeah, I know it's a good fight. Fight's a good fight every moment. You know, it's just how it's got to be, dude. 'Cause I mean, literally, just read for what, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, hour and 10 minutes. So, I'm not trying to delete his work there. Anybody believe these people actually exist? You're on drugs. Forever. Uh, man, come on. Snap out of it. He's a fake. Fakes. Facial recognition. Nope. Fake facial generation software. That's what they got going. And you better reject everything that comes down the pike in 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 this month, in this year, from now on. You better reject it all. Not to, I'm going to probably quote Michelle Frost. It's fake until proven innocent. You know what I mean? Fake until proven real. I think that's what it was. But yeah, knowing what they've done in the past, we kind of know what they're doing in the future, and it doesn't take a rocket science to see that this is an operation. All of them. So yeah, that's basically it. I'll play the song a little bit. All right, so I think that we will. I'm gonna set up another channel. We'll go to my TIE channel and we'll leave this on. So it'll take a couple minutes to set this up. We'll have the link sharing over there. 'Cause I respect Yo, and I don't want Yo to like lose that. Might as well leave it up. People might want to see that in the future. So that's what I plan on doing. So it was a good link. Everybody liked it. Great song. Great shout out. Thank you very much, Danny Diesel, for your love and support. Anyhow, all right. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do. I know. Yeah, it's just I'm looking at the options here. I say, okay, I could go on with link sharing. One link is going to destroy all of what Yo put out. One link. So I'm like, oh, shit. Because normally I'm just deleting them. I don't care. I might as well just do it. I just put link contest and put it up there. Turn the dashboard. Oh, this will be a little tutorial for the people that don't know how to use StreamYard. Mm. All right. So there's that. Um, it's just what I have to do to make sure everybody is covered. All right, it's very generic. I don't know what we're gonna put. I got too many pictures in this thing. Doing this on my computer is gonna overload. Alrighty, I'm just gonna put anything that's cool. How about that? We'll just hmm, something cool, man. Come on, yeah, that'll work. Fake me. Mm, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm gonna go live over there. We'll transfer you guys over there. Let me get the link real quick. Alright. That's how you gotta do it. You gotta be smart. Work smarter, not harder, you know? Oh, Tinfoil, how you doing? Welcome. We're gonna be like moving from one spot to another because and hey, this is one good way to get everybody in the chat to sub to my other account, you know. Yeah. Mhm. All right. So let me just go back over here and put this welcome aboard. You're more than welcome to come on the next show here. We just got done with Pheic. Danny's in here. Thank you, Danny, for the gracious video that you put out yesterday. Much appreciated. There's a link to the new stream. I am going live in 10 seconds, literally. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. Right, there's that. That'll work. We're in the new chat, new live stream. Welcome. Oh, first link of the day. All right. There you go. And I'll see you guys over there. Yeah, we're jumping over there. Just because, my buddy Yo Laserbeam had quite a little presentation that I kind of want to keep, and I don't want to, I don't want to ruin it with our links and stuff. You know how we do. So hit that link, and I'll see you over there at the new chat. And, hey, how you guys doing over there? Who's already over here? We got Blessed Life over here. She already got a link, or he does. One, two. We'll just wait for a couple more people to get in there. That's how I'm gonna do it. Let me get my guy over there. Yeah, I think everybody. That's how you got to do it. You see, and just little lessons for people that have multiple channels that can live streams. I guess that way everybody can knows what they're doing. All right, I put that live stream on that live stream. All right. I know it's going to take a minute for me to get in there with my account and give everybody a wrench. So just hold off. Don't zap them, Sherry. Or bless life. Oh, I'm just kidding. Uh, what else we got coming in here? We got Annalisa. We got Danny Diesel. And, we go from 10 to 15, 16 to nobody. It's okay. It'll take a minute for people to catch on that they're supposed to come over here. Some people they like fall asleep in those streams, so that's what happens. Hey Rose, you're in the wrong stream. Scroll up, hit the link. Yo, you're in the wrong stream. Scroll up and hit the link. James, you're in the wrong stream. Scroll up and hit the link. Yeah, just to let you know. Yeah, Blessed Life's on this side. She's in the other chat, Rose. We moved from one live stream to the other. Somebody go tell them. Maybe they can't hear me. I don't know. There's Blessed Life's over here. We got Danny Diesel's over here. We got Sherry B, Lisa. Yeah, we got Chris Thompson. We got Dr. Red Dirt in the house. Yeah, James and Tinfoil and Rose and anybody else that's over there, you're gonna have to come and hit the link to the real stream. Okay, so Rose found it. We'll see if Tinfoil makes it over there, and oh, Frosty, you're gonna have to move to the new channel. We're going. The link's right there. Here, I'll send it to you. I believe this is it. Peace. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's it. There's the link, Frosty. Come over to the other channel. We're out of here. All right. Well, let me work on getting you guys wrenches, and then we'll start the show. Let's just tell it's gonna be. We got Yo Lazarbeam in the house. We got Rose Blossoms in the house. We got Chris Thompson's in the house. We got James already been here. He's like a royal fan. Look at that guy. He's like Danny Diesel now. We got Lisa's in the house. Sherry B. Red Dirt's over here. Thompson. Oh, I think I got everybody. Double check, make sure I got you guys wrench action. See where Michelle is. Michelle, make it over here. Let me get that going on. Let me see if I missed anybody because I was on. I think I got everybody. Please chat up and see if you don't have a wrench or whatever, so I can do it right now. All right, now we've been successfully moved. Anybody in this chat and you're in there, well, you're in the wrong room. You got to go to the right room. So I'm ending the stream. I love you guys. See you on the next one.